You are Locked On Tigers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Oh my goodness, we about had a heart attack. What was that in the ninth inning? A 7-1 game becomes a 7-6 game, but the Tigers avoid the sweep and salvage the finale. Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. And I had it all ready to go. And the Tigers bullpen gives up 5 runs in a lopsided game and entering the ninth 7-1. And all of a sudden, the Cheese got a little more binding with the tying run at the plate there in a 7-6 ball game. But whoo, everybody relax, take a deep breath. The Tigers finally end the 4-game losing streak with 1 win against the Angels here on a matinee. The Bats wake up to avoid that sweep. We'll talk about that. Casey Mize had a nice start before his early exit. We will discuss that and wrap it up with some studs and duds. Bring that back, that segment. We haven't done that in a little while. And there were some studs in this game and there were some duds, especially with what I just spoke on. But as always, we thank you for making Locked On Tigers your destination following the final out. That's what we're here for you, your post-game destination for all things Tigers. First listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And today's show is also made possible by the pros at Tax Network USA. That's right. Tax Network USA, proud sponsor of the Locked On Tigers postcast and brought to you by Tax Network USA. Did you know that it's never too late to resolve your tax issues with the IRS? Don't wait. Reduce your tax debt and get help from a team of licensed tax professionals. Call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. We'll get to the comments in just a moment, but before the ninth inning spiraled out of control and nearly just became a complete disaster, I had a lot of positive things to say about the game today. And for whatever reason, I thought the interesting split graphic that was shown, or the graphic of the splits between the Tigers offense on day games compared to night games, they're a different offense. And this far into the season, to see a trend like that certainly was noteworthy. But you get a couple home runs today and inside the Parker from Justyn-Henry Malloy, which was just played poorly by the Angels outfield. I don't know what was happening with the other 2 outfielders off the wall in center field. No backup there, but credit to Malloy. He put a really good swing on that ball and went all the way around for the inside the park home run that scored 2. And before we even get into Carson Kelly's long ball, which was really nice to see, I think he is one that has made some significant strides this year to be an everyday player. And again, in the position that the Tigers are with very, very few bats to choose from, Carson Kelly, the 3-run homer, was really nice to see. And go even further, Andy Ibanez leading the game off with the triple was good to see. And it was the day that Matt Vierling was a late scratch from the game. So you get Andy Ibanez up in that leadoff spot, and he delivers with the triple. Mark Canha with the sac fly. And the Tigers needed every single one of those runs for how the bullpen made a mess of this one. But great to see a win, 7-6 the final. Tigers now 38-46, 19-24 on the road. They'll have an off day tomorrow before beginning 3 in Minnesota with the Twins and close out the road trip with the weekend series against the Cincinnati Reds. So as always, I want to know what you have to say in your reaction. I gave you mine from this game this afternoon, a little bit later of a start being on the West Coast. So still an afternoon Sunday game, and the Tigers get the win. We go straight to the comments. That's where Word Vanjo leads us off. Your notification was premature. Yeah, listen, I know you're talking about getting the broadcast all set up, but we do that so we can hop right on following the final out. You guys don't want to wait around for me to type out the YouTube descriptions and get everything ready to go. And I appreciate you having the alerts set up, though, to Locked On Sports Detroit. But I thought 7-1 entering the ninth was safe to get it all ready to go. But you're right, Word Banjo. I almost paid the price there. But that's just a little look into how the sausage is made on lopsided games. I try to get ahead so we can go right on the air following the third out. Jason Walter, such a bipolar team. And good news, I saw Joe pitch last night and he looked good. Yeah, he did. And it is that portion of the season where we have to start looking at our minor league highlights. And maybe even that's more compelling than what's going on in the major leagues. But my goodness, yeah, I liked what we saw from Jackson Jobe. All right, Hannah Banana 90, welcome in. Time for Shelby Miller to GTFO. Yeah, he has not looked good as of late, and we'll get into all the bullpen's final line because it wasn't pretty after Casey Mize left after 5 1/3, and hopefully he's okay because he did leave after what appeared to be some aggravation in the lower body area after he tried to chase down that pop-up. But my goodness, yeah, 5 runs in the 9th before Tyler Holton comes in for the final out, 1 run in the 6th, and they did their damage off of Shelby Miller. So he gets just 2 outs, gives up 3 hits, 5 total runs, all of them earned, walked a batter, 2 long balls. Not a good day, not a good series for Shelby Miller whatsoever because he gave up that 3-run bomb the other night that lost it for him. So bullpen, obviously we're going to hear more about the bullpen in the duds portion of the program, no doubt about it. Demetrius McNeil, what's going on? And everydayer, appreciate you chiming in. This would have been 2 games in a row the Tigers have had lead and choked. Not this time. Well, my goodness, I hope we can get 3 outs with 6 runs to work with. We gave up 5 runs, but yeah, that was not good. YouTube user here, out of the last 10 series, how many have they won? Well, we talked about this last night because losing 3 to 4, obviously that means they've lost their last 6 out of 7 series. So 6 out of 7, that's not good. I have to go back, rack my brain a little bit. I do have the schedule pulled up here. So going all the way back, they split. Before that, they won a series against Texas in Arlington. I went to they won 2 out of 3 against Texas. I actually went to the one game they lost. Remember, that was in early June when Kenta Maeda left after 1 pitch. They split 1 with Boston. That was a 4-game series. And then they took 2 of 3 they split with Pittsburgh too, which was just a 2-game series. Remember, one of those was the doubleheader. So yeah, I think that would be your last 10 series. They took 3 of 4 from Toronto prior to that. And that 3 of 4 against Toronto came after being swept in Kansas City. So we're all over the place now, and I don't want to derail us too much, but it just goes to show you 6 out of the last 7. But with the win today, they're now 7, and they've won. Let me make sure I get this right. 7 of their last 23. So not good. All right. We've got David Chafin in the comments. Olsen and Mize give us 2 real good starts, and we almost get nothing for it. Yikes. Yeah, I think, Casey Mize would have liked to go a little bit longer in this one, and that's something we'll talk about. But he, after 80-some pitches, AJ Hinch yanked him out. I remember he was trying to chase down that pop-up, but Mize only threw 86 pitches, and they were talking about this on the broadcast, that you wanted I'm sure if you're Casey Mize, you want to have that chance to close out and get through 6 innings instead of just the 5 1/3, because as it pans out, the Angels get all their damage after Mize leaves the game. They get 1 in the 6th off of Faedo, and then 5 more in the 9th. So I don't want to, and yes, it was a good start yesterday. And how many times we talked about that with Reese Olson? It seems like he always puts forth a good start, and there's nothing to show for it. So YouTube user, yes, the Tigers have won 2 of their last 10 series because the other 2 were splits. Mark Pajot, anyone else think Green looks tired? Yeah, that's an interesting discussion with Riley Green. He made the error last night. I don't know if he necessarily looks tired. I think he's made so many strides at the plate that I don't think the takeaway from today is that Riley Green, is causing this team any anything negatively because he's been one of the few bright spots this season and has been really good in terms of OPS, in terms of tons of different offensive statistics for American League outfielders. That's why I do think he deserves to be an all-star. But I have made comments, and last night he made that error where he kind of played that single into a double, where you think maybe there's just some lapses in his athletic ability, which is strange because when he burst onto the scene, he was so athletic. And, I don't really know what to make of it other than it's something as simple as the eye test. He just doesn't look as fluid, as smooth as he did in the outfield when I think back to maybe last year, even the year before that. But I don't think it's any, major takeaway. Again, I'm not leaving this game after watching the Tigers finally get a win saying, yeah, Riley Green looks tired. But appreciate everybody's comments. We will break down the bats as well as look at Casey Mize's outing and early exit with the potential injury. Hopefully he's okay, and then wrap it up with studs and duds. So don't go anywhere. Locked On Tigers postcast is just getting started. That's right. And after a victory, how about that, sports fans? We love to see it after a Tigers victory. Off day tomorrow before 3 against the Minnesota Twins. Don't go anywhere. Locked On Tigers postcast continues in just a minute. This episode of Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks, America's most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. There's over 5 million active members on the platform, so it is the real deal. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action. Unlike other apps, Prize Picks is just you against the numbers, against the projections. That's right. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. It's a great way to get in on the daily action, and you can get in with your friends, become part of the Prize Picks community today. I know I am, and it's a lot of fun. You're putting together a Prize Picks entry, only takes maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute, and that adds a little bit more sizzle to your viewing experience. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can do that. 4 correct picks. That's easy. You'll have a better chance of that than any of the Bally sports guys do on Pick the Stick. You can turn $10 into $1,000. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week, from lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays, write that down, Tuesdays, to help your lineup. You can also hit and get in on your entries fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. And with both the finals over, the Stanley Cup and the NBA, the hoops action, though, doesn't have to stop. The WNBA action is heating up with stars like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and people looking to make names for themselves all throughout the league. And don't forget about the proven superstars like Breanna Stewart and Aisha Wilson. You can get in on the action, win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Today's episode is also brought to you by the pros at Tax Network USA. That's right. Here at Locked On Tigers Postcast, we're very serious about providing you the best Detroit Tigers coverage, post-game reaction. Immediately following the final out, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news, no matter what. And even in the offseason, whether it's about the draft, spring training, you name it, it's year-round. And you know what else is year-round? Collection seasons. And just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. We don't want that now, do we? Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. And with over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over, get ready for this, $1 billion in tax debt. So whether you owe taxes, you have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, you got to call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. And be sure to mention Locked On Tigers Postcast at checkout, and you'll receive a $250 discount off your services. Yeah, bet you didn't know that. Let me say it one more time. Mention Locked On Tigers Postcast at checkout, and you'll receive a $250 discount off their services. Make sure you are taking care of yourself and let the Tax Network pros help you out. All you got to do is visit tnusa.com/lockedon and mention Locked On Tigers Postcast at checkout. All right, we've got a lot more people join the stream, and for that, I appreciate it. We're here after every Tigers game. Locked On Tigers Postcast on Locked On Sports Detroit on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts if you want to catch the audio-only version after our live version here. But I always love mixing in the comments from everybody tuning in because, again, it's greatly appreciated. And, of course, it's more fun after a dub. We also had the Rocket Mortgage Classic at the Detroit Golf Club today, so I've got my Rocket Mortgage hat on. But we're not talking golf, we're talking baseball today. Casey Mize, 5 1/3, but shutout innings. Not a lot of swing and miss. They were talking about that on the broadcast today. Just the 2 strikeouts, also had 2 walks, but did not allow a run, scattered just the 3 hits. And it'll be interesting to see if the lower body injury is something that will keep him out, or if it was just precautionary. He had already thrown 86 pitches. AJ Hinch is usually known as a pretty conservative guy when it comes to letting pitchers try to battle through things or pitch past things. And in fact, it just popped into my head. I remember when Casey Mize marched out there at Comerica Park and took the ball from Matt Manning, even though he had a no-hitter going after, I think it was 5 2/3, 6 2/3. Yeah, 6 2/3, whatever it may be. Not that it matters, but that just popped into my head when I was talking about how AJ Hinch has that quick hook. So after that, the Tigers bullpen, not good. Alex Faedo, good to see him back, but 1 2/3, gave up 1 earned run on the wild pitch too. And I know Carson Kelly will say he should have stopped that, but nonetheless, you put yourself in position to have traffic on the bases, and a little wild pitch like that is not good, and it allows the run to score. And after that, I mean, my goodness, it was ugly. Although, sorry, once it got to Shelby Miller, it was ugly. Andrew Chafin gets his 1 inning of work, allows 1 hit, but strikes out 2 and gets out of there without a run. Then it got ugly in the 9th. Shelby Miller, just 2/3 innings pitched, so he gets 2 outs, gave up 3 hits, walked a batter, and the 3-run home run that really made this way too close. Anytime, and we've talked about this at length, the home run is what it builds, what makes big innings go. I mean, you can't, not that you can't do it without a home run, but in today's game in baseball, that's what you see. You get in trouble if you don't keep the ball in the ballpark. And for Shelby Miller, I think if I were to be look into my crystal ball based on his last couple of outings, some serious fine tuning is needed. We'll say that some serious fine tuning is needed, but nonetheless, I think the fact that the Tigers were able to hold on to it, obviously you avoid the sweep. That's a must. But like we talked about I guess technically it was this morning because it was so late last night. If you're at the point in this season where you're checked out and, oh, hey, cool, they won, great, grand, wonderful, no yelling on the bus, awesome, good stuff. But at least tomorrow, or not tomorrow, it's the off day tomorrow, but on Tuesday, Tarek Skubal will go. So it's always good chance to get to see him in action. 9-3 on the season, 2.32 ERA, 112 strikeouts. So we'll get to see that, but an off day for the Tigers. Before getting into that, they get the win today, 7-6 over the Angels, salvage a game from the 4-game series. 1-3 on the road trip so far, with 3 to come in Minnesota, followed by 3 in Cincinnati. We'll wrap it up and tie a bow on it with studs and duds when we come back here on this live edition of Locked On Tigers Postcast. Hey, fired up to tell you all about today's sponsor, America's #1 sportsbook, and that's FanDuel. You got to go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Now, here we go. We're into the summer months. There is no doubt about it. And you know I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop, but playoffs wind down. The NBA Finals will stop. The Stanley Cup is over. We've got fewer games, but the sports aren't sportsing the way I used to love it when they did. So FanDuel's going to step up and help you keep the sports going whenever you want. All you have to do is open the app, dream up any bets anytime you're in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers, not just new customers. No, this is for everybody, all customers, with a boost or a bonus every single day. How about that to cure the summer blues? That's right. All customers get a boost or a bonus every single day. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most of your summer. And I checked the odds with Tarek Skubal starting tomorrow. It's not too late to get in on the Tarek Skubal for Cy Young sweepstakes. It's at plus 190 right now. Now, if you're like me, you got in a little bit early, and if that's going to pay out a little bit better. But hey, plus 190, I think you take that. It's still a good deal. Tarek Skubal to win the American League Cy Young. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. That's right, America's #1 sportsbook. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. Studs and duds portion of the program. Thanks always for making Locked On Tigers Postcast a part of your day. If you haven't yet, subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit and go ahead and send it to a friend. Give us a like, all that good, important social media, digital media stuff, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, we're all about it here. But some studs from this afternoon. Let's start with Carson Kelly, because his 3-run homer ultimately proved to be very, very much needed, even though that made it 7 to, I think at the time, it made it 7-1. And or I'm sorry, 7-0. That made it 7-0, because then the Angels came back with 1 in the 6th and 5 in the 9th. But you felt like after that home run that the Tigers could, cruise in, get this afternoon victory on a Sunday, off day tomorrow, get into Minnesota. But that was not the case, because some of our duds, that's right, we'll knock the duds out right away. And it starts with Shelby Miller. Not to continue to just hone in on how poorly he's pitched as of late, but if you take a look at not just tonight, but his game log, if you will. So the last time out against the Angels on Friday, he gave up the 3-run homer, only pitched an inning then. Before that, though, he did have 2 good outings, one against the Phillies, one against the White Sox back on the 22nd, in which he pitched an inning without giving up runs. But and had a couple of strikeouts. But looking at Friday's outing as well as today's, it's been a rough go at it for Shelby Miller. So he gets one of the duds for today. And I think, too, it's important to note that in a game that the Tigers won, it looks like a really close score until the 9th inning. Obviously, it wasn't. So there was more solid play tonight, or this afternoon, I should say, than the entire series, because you got Justyn-Henry Malloy getting the inside the park home run, 2 RBI on the day for him. Mark Canha with the sac fly. And Canha needed that. He still is hitless on the day. He's been in quite the slump, as has Gio Urshela. And I know Chris McCoskey pointed out that, yes, the young guys have been struggling, but those 2 guys, Canha and Urshela, have to get it going, because they have been really, really bad as well. Andy Ibanez, 2 hits today, so we'll have him and on the stud category with 2 runs scored as well. Exactly what you got to do at the top of the lineup. So you love to see that from Andy Ibanez and Casey Mize. And, the outing ended a little bit sooner than he wanted, but he does get his second win of the season. 5 1/3, 3 hits, did not allow a run, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. And the performance that Casey Mize had today kind of felt like, hey, if he can be this guy to provide some quality starts, some consistency at the bottom portion of the rotation, maybe it's a guy that's a part of this team's future moving forward. So I think that's where we can hope with Casey Mize. He's certainly not going to, at least it'd be a huge surprise to me and probably everybody if he turns into the Greg Maddux that he was getting comparisons to out of Auburn. I think that might have been a little overzealous, but hey, Tigers offense, it was a day game, so they actually showed up with 7 runs. Maybe, just maybe, the offense can continue that after an off day tomorrow before taking on Minnesota. Projected starters on Tuesday: Tarek Skubal for the Tigers, Simon Woods Richardson for the Twins. Flaherty will go on Wednesday against David Festa. And then in the series finale, Kenta Maeda will get a crack at his old team against Bailey Order. And then no off day. Well, the off day is Monday, so that means after the Thursday game against the Twins, it's right on to Cincinnati to conclude the road trip, the Great American Ballpark, with the weekend series. So looking forward to that. Enjoy your off day tomorrow. I know I'll enjoy the off day. It's always great chatting with everybody after the game. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet. There's a lot of things going on with this team. I know we talked about some of the Craig Monroe stuff late last night. If you missed that, go check it out on yesterday's episode. But all I really said was, hey, what he's accused of doing is absolutely horrific. And don't know Craig Monroe personally. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. And I think out of respect to everybody involved, you just wait to see what conclusions are made and what comes out as far as factual and how it all plays out before rushing to any kind of opinion, any kind of statement or any of that nature. But it just is really, really horrific what he's accused of doing. So if you haven't seen that, it's just go online and check it out. It's all over the place. But win for the Tigers. You love to see that. And hopefully they can string together some wins after a really difficult start to this road trip, losing the first 3, but the Tigers get 1 here this afternoon against the Angels. So shout out to the everydayers in the comments. Appreciate everybody's collaboration and engagement and involvement with the show. And even though we enter into July, we continue to press on. And even though the Tigers are a little bit more disappointing than they've been, or than we had hoped, especially given that start, hey, season's continuing on, and we will be here for the ride. So have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, wonderful off day tomorrow. Tell a friend about Locked On Tigers Postcast if you haven't yet. Don't forget about the Locked On 24/7 stream, Locked On Tigers with Scott Bentley. And we'll be back with you on Tuesday. That's right, off day tomorrow before Tuesday against the Minnesota Twins. Tarek Skubal on the mound. Looking forward to that. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll talk to you next time on Locked On Tigers Postcast.